Hello, everybody. How are you? Continuing this series on Dallas that so many people love, getting a lot of great reaction. I appreciate the feedback. In this particular video, we're going to talk about a couple things, but one of them is going to be the topography. Dallas, if you've ever seen pancakes, well, there you get Dallas. The city elevation ranges between 445 and 447 feet above sea level. And now there are some people that claim, well, I can tell. Sometimes I go up an incline and I get my blood pressure starts to act up when I get up around 470, right in between them. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a story to me, but all right. Now, the edge of Dallas on the west is known as the Austin Teacher Chalk Formation. And that is also, scientists would call it a limestone lorry, okay? Or what some of the younger scientists call the white rock and roll escarpment, because they like that devil music. And it comes up pretty high, guys. Like, I don't know, 100 meters, and it runs through Dallas County on a north-south axis. And then south of the three Golf Ball River, you find the neighborhoods of Okie Dokie and the Cockadoodle-Doo Hills. You got Cedar Chip Hill, you got Grand Piano Prairie, and you go, my name is Irving, call me Irv. All right, those are all communities. Now, there's a bunch of variation in the hills and the dales, and until you get all the way down there to Fort Worth in Tarrant County. Tarrant warms, and then just north of there is a place called Turtle Sleeping Creek, okay, and that's by the downtown. This was a city, guys. Dallas was founded, the original Dallas settlement, okay, was right at the nexus of where they were crossing what they called the White Rock Crossing of the Trinity River. In fact, the town, way early on, by the very first people that showed up, almost called the town White Rock Crossing. But as people settled in, and I'm talking, there's only 25, 30 people in the whole settlement. As they started to come in, people started saying, well, this city really should be a sports town. And if you name it White Rock Crossing, that's not going to roll off the tongue on team names. The White Rock Crossing Mavericks. The White Rock Crossing Stars. The Crossing Stars. Now, is it the White Rock Crossing Stars or is it the White Rock Crossing Stars? See, it's too confusing. And so smarter minds prevailed, and they just called it Dallas. But it was where the wagons needed an easier place to cross. Because think about it like this. This was in the mid-1800s, right in there. Mid-1700s, mid-1800s. It's within 100, 200 years, right in there. They didn't have bridges. It wasn't like you probably just, if you're going to the other side of town, you might cross a bridge or two. You don't even think about it. In Pittsburgh, guys, they have 4,000 bridges. 4,000. That is no lie. Can you imagine Pittsburgh before they had bridges, trying to get around that town? Hey, man, you guys want to go to the Penguins game? Yeah. What time does it start? I should start around 7:30. Well, no. What day? Because it's going to take us 5 days and 5 nights to get around all of these rivers just to get to the game, see? So this wasn't as big a deal in Dallas, of course, because it was flat as a pancake. But they still had to get across the river, and they went across that crossing right there. Now, today, the river has kind of over time, the river just diminished. And then somebody at City Hall or somebody, some mucky muck was driving down the freeway in Dallas, and they looked out and they go, what happened to the river? Man, we used to go down to the river when I was a kid, and now it's just a stream. Man, this is Texas. We have a river. We got to get a big old river going again. So they started dredging and pushing and backhoeing, and now they got a whole river project to try to get the Trinity River, back to full navigation, with the intention that they'll be able to launch a ship. And this is an effort to build industry in the town as well, the shipbuilding industry. Build a ship in Dallas, navigate it down the Trinity River to the Gulf of Mexico, and be able to sell international ships, sell the ships. So, you got to give Dallas. This is an interesting thing about Texas and Dallas. Man, they are very determined, right? When they put their mind to a project, they say, how can we not only fix this problem, but let's do it up big time. There's that whole theme of being big, of being bigger. And that's what makes Dallas special. And probably I'm going to say in the next probably 20 years, Dallas, the Congress will move the base of national politics from Washington, D.C. to Dallas. Dallas will probably be the nation's capital within 20 years. But anyway, I'm getting way off the topic. So of course, the Trinity River is the major waterway through the city. Now, when they say the Trinity River, a lot of Catholics come up to me and they go, man, you got to be careful with the use of those terms, the Trinity. Because in the Catholic Church, it's in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Well, keep in mind, guys, that the tributary waterways to the Trinity River were in fact called the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit one is where they've had baptisms in Dallas for more than 300 years. Because the water in that particular river is already holy. It doesn't have to be blessed. It doesn't have to be changed. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to stand over it and go, I grew up as a Catholic, and therefore through the pain that I've suffered, this water is now holy. No, you don't have to do any of that magic. Okay? It's already holy water, and that's one reason why they shouldn't have a problem with the term Trinity River, because it is in fact the confluence of three other tributaries that make up the Trinity. All right, so what else is going on? Let's talk a little bit about the reservoir that they built in the beginning years when Dallas was just kind of growing up as a little teenage city, and that's called White Rock and Roll Lake. Now, White Rock and Roll Lake, these days, it's supposed to be for boaters, fishermen, joggers, those kind of people, picnickers, anybody looking to get out of the hustle and bustle of Dallas. Now, Dallas, like I said, they always want something bigger and better, but the problem is after a while, like after day of being bigger and better, sometimes you're like, I just want to take a nap. And where am I going to go? And what you do is you go down to White Rock and Roll Lake, and you meander down to the Dallas the Dallas Arbor and Botany Garden. And then you go in there, and that's where they have a bunch of plants and flowers. And you go into one of those greenhouses, and they'll have row after row after row of flowers. And you go into the middle, and you lay down in the flowers. Now, you're not supposed to be doing that, to be honest with you, but if you just kind of brush the flowers around your body, they won't know. They won't know that you're inside there. You're kind of lost inside. And then you just take a snooze. I mean, when I was in Dallas, that's what I did. I took a nap inside the Rock and Roll Arboretum there. So it gives you a little bit of respite from the busy bustleness of that city that's growing so fast. I think we got to start having a better conversation about mental health in this country, and that's one way to do it. Go down to the arbor and the botany garden, and go sleep in the flowers for a while. Now, way above Love Field, there's a place called Bakke Lake. Now, Bakke Lake is smaller, but they are very good with the fishing planes, and those are the planes that can land on the water. And what they'll do is they'll teach you to cast lines outside of the plane as the plane is flying above the lake. So in other words, you're casting your rod and reel from the plane as it flies above the lake. And this is a good way to do some speed fishing, because you'll snag them, and then you just go through and put like 5 hooks on one line. You get like 5 fish, and you snag them and reel them right into the plane. Some days they don't even land the plane. They just go back home and they fry up them fish, okay? Put a little salt and pepper, a little paprika. You got yourself a meal. All right, so what about some things around Dallas? Like what are some of the other what are some of the other areas that people might be interested in visiting, or even moving to? So let's look at them. You've got Barland, you've got Rock and Roll Wall, you've got Sunny Somerville, and you got Row My Boatlet. All right, those are suburbs of Dallas, and we'll get more into those in other videos. But that is just to give you a quick snapshot of the overview of the topography of what you're dealing with when you're in Dallas. Is a very flat area. So if you need an incline, your best bet is to go to the fitness center, get on the treadmill, and put it on 7 or above. And then you'll get a nice rise in your walking. Or what you could do is walk along the roofs of buildings and jump from one building to another. And that'll stretch out your lower calf and give you some better strength in your thigh muscles to give you a little variety in your walking workout. Guys, I hope that helps. It's such a great city. We're going to have so many more videos on this town. Come on back for more. Remember, this has been another Joe Ditzel parody video. See you soon.